Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. It is May 8th, 2025, and we got a very interesting day ahead of us. So we did start off last night with Donald Trump teasing a major trade announcement. We kind of heard about this all week, and then we heard it was going to be about the United Kingdom. And then everyone's feeling good this morning. And then not too long ago, there was a report by CNN. It's not confirmed yet. We're actually going to hear from Donald Trump about 30 minutes after the bell. But they were saying that despite the negotiations, it is still going to be a minimum 10%. So this got people talking about it, talking about autos and steels. I thought we would hear about the Saudis, and I think that is still coming up. But when it's all said and done, we get a little bit of trade drama today, and like I said, Donald Trump is going to start us here in the morning. We did just have Jerome Powell, everybody going back and forth, stagflation. That is a word that I've heard a lot, but other than that, it's the same old Powell and everybody debating hard landing versus soft landing. So, Chad, it's Friday, Junior, baby. We should have a good one ahead of us. You're already gapped up almost 1%, so we'll see where it takes us, but Chad, Adonia. Good morning. What up, P? What up, Chris? Ansel, Mr. Edwards, Andre, Tim Whitman, Joey Kakamo, Crypto Chris, O'Rise, Ansel, Humble Business. Good morning, baby. What up, Lucky Soldier? Fates, Mitch, my sono, Laker, Jay. Good morning, open face. Connor, how you doing, baby? Good morning. What up, Mr. Lerman? What up, Caleb? Good morning, King Kong. Booney, Danny, Adric, Mark, Christina, Zach, and James, and Alyssa, Bruce B. Oh, my goodness. Good morning. Happy Friday, Junior. JJ. Oh, what up, Ryan Walters? Canela, Gus Gonzo, Noah. Good morning, Chad. What about that Twitch? PhD, Preforms, Lizzie, Toy Soldier, Senor, Cleo, One Man Wolf Pack, Oddity, Bargain, Blue 42, Donnie Barco, Blow Window, Epic Eric, and Blazing Bob. Good morning. Oh, it does feel like Friday. I already lost my voice, bro. Yesterday, I don't know what happened. Bro, my voice was, it's back. I know, I didn't get the new mic. I'm mad. You know what happened, bro? Tell me why. I felt like this. I haven't done this in a long time, too. And I was so let down. I'm like tracking the package, bro. I'm like sitting there waiting. And I'm like, oh my. And then it says, you know what it says on Amazon? It says 3 stops away. And it says I'm 3 stops away. I'm like, oh, okay. I start getting ready, bro. Tell me why he never showed up. And it said, driver attempted delivery. I'm like, no, he didn't. I have cameras. I was waiting outside with the flag and everything, and he didn't. Yeah, so either way, here's Josh AI with the news. Good morning. Good morning. U.S. futures gain on U.K. trade deal, chip rule change, U.S. technology shares led a rally in stock futures as sentiment was boosted by the Trump administration's plan to rescind some Biden-era curbs on chip makers and news of a trade agreement with Britain. Contracts for the NASDAQ 100 added 1.2%, while those on the S&P 500 climbed about 0.9%. Intel Corp rose about 3% in pre-market trading, while peers such as NVIDIA Corp and Micron Technology Inc. also gained after Bloomberg reported the U.S. will rescind restrictions regulating the export of semiconductors to various countries. In addition, President Donald Trump said the U.S. has reached a comprehensive trade agreement with the U.K., the first of his promised deals. The headlines lifted Europe's stock 600 index by 0.7%, with chip stocks including ASML holding NV among the top gainers. Britain's domestically focused FTSE 250 index rose more than 1% to a 2-month high. Treasuries and gold prices dropped as market sentiment improved, while the dollar strengthened and Bitcoin rose toward the $100,000 mark for the first time since February. The pound climbed after the Bank of England cut interest rates as expected, but stuck to signaling gradual and careful moves in the coming months. Trump's announcement of a UK deal followed news that U.S. and Chinese officials will meet this weekend to discuss trade. Investors are waiting to see if crippling levies mooted by Trump will be negotiated down, averting lasting damage to economic growth and corporate profits. The fear has been of higher prices, company profit margins being squeezed, and the economy going into recession as a result of higher tariffs, said Kenneth Brew, a strategist at Societe Generale. If you start unwinding all of that, it's got to be bullish for risk assets. In the UK, gilt yields rose about 5 basis points, reversing an earlier slide after the BOE reduced interest rates to 4.25% in a decision made before the U.S. trade deal was announced. However, the BOE upgraded its annual growth forecast for 2025, while two officials voted not to cut rates this time due to inflation risks in a recent easing in financial conditions. For Neil Birrell, Chief Investment Officer at Premier Miton Investors, the split BOE vote goes to show the scale of the uncertainty that exists amongst a key group, namely the actual setters of policy. It's going to be difficult to make a call on future policy on the back of that. Why? The dollar was 0.2% higher against a basket of peers, benefiting also from the Federal Reserve signal that it's in no hurry to ease monetary policy. The Fed held interest rates steady as expected on Wednesday and warned that higher tariffs could raise inflation and unemployment. Rate-sensitive 2-year Treasury yields rose about 5 basis points as traders trimmed the odds of a July cut to around 80%. Investors will now monitor weekly jobless data, which is expected to show claims slipped marginally in the latest week to 230,000. Among other individual stock movers, Fortinet Inc. dropped about 10% after results from the security software firm undershot estimates, while chip design company ARM Holdings plc fell 11% after a disappointing sales forecast. Drug makers, including Eli Lilly and Company and Moderna Inc., slipped after a report that Trump plans to revive efforts to dramatically slash drug costs. Cryptocurrency exposed stocks such as Coinbase Global Inc. and CleanSpark Inc. rally, while there was little international fallout from the conflict between India and Pakistan. Investors were monitoring signs of escalation. Pakistan's main equity index shed as much as 8.8%, while India's Nifty 50 index lost as much as 1.1%. The Indian rupee slid over 1% against the dollar. Junk debt revival just weeks after coming to a halt because of Donald Trump's tariff bombshell. The junk debt market is starting to crank back into gear again, from Italian sneaker brand Golden Goose to German chain Motel 1. Even some of the raciest types of corporate lending are suddenly back in vogue. A spate of high-yield bond deals kicked off the action at the end of April, and now loan issuers are joining the party. Whether the celebrations last depends on the U.S. president's future trade pronouncements, but investment bankers are seizing on a welcome bit of respite after a number of deals were pulled or put on hold. Some feared they might be stuck with unsellable debt, as happened in the past when junk markets froze. It's a temporary reprieve, too, for the mid-sized companies that rely on borrowed money, doubly so as tariff mayhem threatens economic harm. Much of the surge in activity is taking place in Europe on the expectation that interest rates will fall faster there, and as tariff-scarred American investors look to diversify. But there are signs of life in the U.S. as well. Among the offerings are the chancier varieties of deals that show investor demand is running hot. This includes dividend recapitalizations, where companies raise cash for payouts to their private equity owners, and payment in kind or PIK notes, where businesses defer their interest charges. The high-yield market has come back with a vengeance, and last week was one of the busiest of the year, according to Daniel Rudnicki-Schlumberger, J.P. Morgan's head of leveraged finance for EMEA. India and Pakistan shoot down drones, missiles as conflict grows. India and Pakistan shot down drones and missiles over densely populated cities in a second day of military hostilities, a marked escalation in a conflict triggered by last month's deadly militant attack in the disputed region of Kashmir. Pakistan's army shot down several Indian drones over major cities, including Lahore, Rawalpindi, and outside Karachi, a spokesman told reporters Thursday. India's Ministry of Defense separately said in a statement it neutralized Pakistan's attempt to strike a number of military targets in northern and western India using drones and missiles on Wednesday and Thursday. The military action raised concern of a significant escalation in hostilities between the nuclear-armed rivals, prompting a plunge in Pakistan stocks and the biggest drop in India's rupee in 3 years. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting Thursday with top bureaucrats from various ministries to review planning and preparedness amid rising tensions. He asked officials to review readiness, emergency response, and internal communication protocols, according to a statement from the Prime Minister's office. Top overnight news: President Trump is expected to announce a framework of a trade deal with the UK on Thursday, the first in what the White House hopes is a series of trade agreements since it imposed tariffs against allies and adversaries. Trump said there would be a press conference in the Oval Office at 10 a.m. WSJ. Ukraine has discussed ways to pressure Russia into agreeing to a 30-day ceasefire with U.S., French, British, and German senior officials. President Volodymyr Zelensky's top aide said on Thursday, part of a flurry of diplomacy to try to end the war. RTRS, U.S. President Trump's big announcement is regarding a Medicare drug plan, according to Politico. U.S. President Trump posted, "We are making great progress on the one big beautiful bill. Our economy is doing well, but it's going to boom in a way never seen before. We are going to do no tax on tips, no tax on seniors' Social Security, no tax on overtime, and much more. It will be the biggest tax cut for middle and working class Americans by far, and it is time for Main Street to win. Make America great again." White House said the Treasury and Commerce Departments have formulated plans for a sovereign wealth fund, but no final decisions have yet been made. China is considering largely scrapping its pre-sales model for homes, People Familiar said. The move aims to address the country's housing crisis, but may exacerbate cash flow pressure on developers. BBG, the BOJ can't ignore the potential downside risks to prices stemming from U.S. tariffs, Kazuo Ueda said. BBG. The Bank of England cut interest rates by a quarter point to 4.25% as Donald Trump's global trade war weighs on UK growth in a decision that split senior officials into 3 groups and was made before the U.S. president hinted at an imminent deal to lower tariffs on British exports. BBG. Brazil's central bank raised its interest rate by a half point to 14.75%, the highest level since 2006. Policymakers kept their options open for either another hike or a pause at its next decision. BBG. Google plus 2%. Google issued statement overnight responding to AAPL's intraday comments on search traffic. We continue to see overall query growth in search. That includes an increase in total queries coming from Apple's devices and platforms more generally. As we enhance search with new features, people are seeing that Google search is more useful for more of their queries, and they're accessing it for new things and in new ways, whether from browsers or the Google app using their voice or Google Lens. We're excited to continue this innovation and look forward to sharing more at Google I/O. Trump tapped Casey Means to be the next U.S. Surgeon General after his prior nominee was withdrawn. The health app founder is a vocal critic of the pharmaceutical industry and big food. BBG. Oh, I wasn't muted. BBG. BBG. There's more. There's more. S&P futures, they're up by 0.7 Thursday morning, though off the best pre-market levels. Comes after U.S. equities finished mostly higher in choppy trading on Wednesday, with semis, entertainment, travel, leisure, multis, credit cards, banks, builders among the better performers. Treasury weaker with the curve bear flattening. Dollar down or up by 0.3, gold down by 0.9, Bitcoin up by 3.5. Touched 100,000 for the first time since February 4th, and WTI is up by 1.4. Stocks underpinned by latest My latest developments on trade, with Trump set to announce framework agreement with the UK this morning, follows recent disclosure of U.S.-China meeting this weekend, fits with the broader but volatile de-escalation theme that has had the big driver of the recent bounce in risk assets. However, EU tariff response remains in focus, with the latest report saying that the bloc is planning to hit 95 billion of euro exports with tariffs if the talks fail. Bounce also helped by talks of releveraging on the part of systematic strategies, while resilient retail dip buying and corporate buyback resumptions one of the other bright spots. Pretty quiet elsewhere. Fed takeaway has revolved around waiting and uncertainty. Some debate about which of the mandate is more pressing. Earnings takeaways more micro than macro at this point. Fiscal policy headlines continue to focus on the myriad of complications facing the GOP reconciliation bill. Initial jobless claims down 13,000 week over week to 228, in line with consensus. Continuing claims of 1.879 million, also lower on the week. Q1 productivity declined by more than expected. First negative print since Q1 22. Q1 labor unit costs grew more than expected, highest since Q1 24. April New York Fed inflation expectations on the calendar today. In addition, Treasury selling 25 billion of 30-year bonds. Bank of England cut by 25 basis points as expected, though split on the three-way decision. Nothing on the U.S. economic calendar today, though a bit of Fed speak from Williams, Kugler, Goolsbee, and Waller. There is more. Earnings activity remains elevated, with 88% of the S&P is now reported. Blended growth rate stands at 13.5%, up from 7.2 at the end of quarter one. Roughly 77% of reporters have beaten consensus, while in aggregate, earnings surprised to the upside by more than 8.5%. Heightened macro uncertainty and tariff mitigation still dominates the earnings theme. Notable earning outperformers: APP, Melly, Carvana, Kenvue, Axon, Pay, TPR, Crocs, X-Ray, WWW, HPI, and Pizza. Notable earnings laggers include ARM, Shop, Fortinet, WBD, NTR, USFD, ZG, Skyworks, TAP, G, CLF, GT, and Donut. Outside of earnings, Google said it continues to see overall query growth in search, including on Apple devices. Tesla, head of India, reportedly resigned. Coin reportedly reached a deal to acquire Deribit for $2.9 billion, and cart down on news of CEO departure. Wow, Habibi, that is all. Oh, that is all, Habibi. Yeah, so this earnings, the prices didn't move like your typical earnings, but you did have, companies beating. That's kind of the weird part about it. Again, the growth rate's still up. There was a lot of good beats, but there was a high correlation with the volatility, so a lot of things were just responding to everything else going on. So either way, it's almost over now, and now it's all politics. But we got some pre-market movers. It's all pretty much earnings here too, so not any crazy headlines. Again, we are waiting for Donald Trump here very shortly, so that is on the calendar. AppLovin there by 12 off earnings. Melly 9 off earnings. BBD 8 off earnings. Carvana is up 5. ABEV up 2.9. Summit is up by 2.8. Initiated by at TD Cohen. CNQ is up 2.7 off of earnings. IBKR is up 2.3. ALAB up 2. Reddit up 2. CoreWeave. None of these have headlines. Broadcom, I think that's off of the chip stuff. Nike's even up by 2.0. Sezzle is up 35. Earnings. Affirm is up in sympathy. Dave is up 25. Qubits up 20. All off earnings. EPAM up 8.7. Sphere is up 10 off earnings. X-Ray is up 7.9 earnings, CFO change. PBI is up 7.8 earnings and dividend increase. IonQ is up 6.9 earnings and acquires Lightsing, announces intent to launch space-based quantum key distribution network. CDE is up by 6.8 off earnings. RevMed 6.2 off earnings. Taboola 4.7 B. Riley upgrade. Pass up 3.2 off earnings. Hun 3.1 nothing. ASST up 55. Follow through on merger. So this one's interesting. This is a Chad. I don't know if you guys remember the Chad who IPO'd. That's his company, but I think he sold it. It's doing something with Chamath, and I'm pretty sure it's like CEP. I think this is sadly, and I don't mean any judgment, just for the interest of everybody, I think this is like CEP. So watch out for that, but it already did move up, and I would read the terms, because there's some terms that it transfers like 99% of the equity into 5% of the new company. So there's something... Yeah, you just got to be careful, but that made a lot of moves yesterday and today. I just realized, I was like, wait a minute, that's a Chad. I forgot about that. So yeah, that is your chat. AVAH up 22 off earnings. Akba 16 off earnings. Honest up 11.5 new CFO. WGRX 7.4 new credit facility. Big Commerce up 4.8 off earnings. Bitcoin stocks trading higher, trading lower. ARGX down 9 off earnings. Shop down 8 off earnings. Fortinet down 8 off earnings. Cart down 6 earnings. Reaffirms guidance and CEO resigns. Tap down 5 off earnings. Hims down 3.9. Court ruling on Terzepatide. $450 million convert. Skyworks down 2.8 earnings. CFO change. F&F down 1.3 off earnings. Cody down 3.4 says prior financials should no longer be relied upon. Luck down 8.6 off earnings. Cold down 2.1 off earnings. XGN down 18 common stock offering. And the rest all are earnings. Oh, yeah. So, Chatadonia, how you feeling, baby? That's everything. That's the plays. I got a couple to watch, but again, I do think we're just going to be vibing out today, taking the headlines. But I do think Thursday, Friday, today, tomorrow, this should have more of the move. That's kind of what we've been seeing here. So, we'll see where that all leads us. But, I hope you know, baby, what we do here at the Cult. Before we chase a dollar, before we try to enrich ourselves, we must pay homage to a very special group of people that has made a sacrifice that most of us never have and ever will. And I'm talking about the veterans of the United States of America. So on behalf of the Cult, the people here, the people not here, I want to give a huge special shout out. Active service, past service, anybody who has served this country, even the families. Thank you for everything you have given. Every day we wake up and get to enjoy all the freedom. And there was days where people who served this nation, you don't think they woke up and didn't want to do something else. And you don't think, and you thought they agreed with everything? Nah, but they still serve their fellow brothers. And we're all here today because of it, man. So at the very least, veterans, I hope y'all get a crib. I hope you guys get the long term, but I really do hope for everybody that we could bring this culture to the real world, man. And I really do hope that you can show this love and appreciation. We're surrounded by many veterans here in the chat, so show your love and veterans for real. Hope you know you're loved, and God bless you, and thank you for everything. And big shout out to anybody else out there giving back to their local communities. Doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men. And we said it yesterday, man, the caretakers. I love y'all, man, and keep it up. And if y'all helping out, doing good for others, taking care of people, helping out your community, man, God bless you. Y'all the chosen one. They don't feel me, baby. But, ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Southern digits! Oh, it's game time, baby. Oh, nah, let's go. Oh, and I'm proud to be an American. Wow, Chatadonia, are you ready? It's Friday Junior, bro. It's Friday Junior. All right, veterans, we love you, man. And God bless y'all. I hope you're feeling good. We got a little bit of time, but we'll go over the plays in Gen Pop. I think it might be time. Baby. Major trade announcement. All right, baby. Are you guys ready? Hamas says militants are fighting in fierce fighting with Israeli soldiers. All right. Well, on that note, get ready. We got Trump in about 30 minutes. But time to go to Gen Pop, Chad. Good morning, and I hope you guys are feeling good. But I will see you there, and have a great rest of your morning. And remember, you could smile a little just today, every day actually. But remember, find the moment to laugh, baby. So God bless Chatadonia, and I will see you guys in a little bit. Get ready.